What's up, everyone? Welcome in to another edition of Golf on Tap. This week, we'll be discussing last week's Rocket Mortgage Classic as Ricky Fowler finally got past the finish line and back into the winner's circle for the first time in 4.5 years. We'll obviously be talking about the event this week, the John Deere Classic down in the Quad Cities, Silvis, Illinois, the most exciting event of the season, some may say. Just kidding. Obviously, this is the weakest field that we've seen in quite some time, but we're still going to be breaking it down here on Golf on Tap because we like money. We still want to win outrights this week, and we're another week closer to the final major championship of the season, the Open Championship, of course, coming up in just a couple of weeks here. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Joey Ricotta. I'm Jack Bushman. Joey, my man, Ricky Fowler, baby. Just tee up everything I said last week. It doesn't happen often where I'm just absolutely spot on about something, but gosh, it felt good to see Ricky finally get it done. Not only just because I was on him all week and I've been saying that Ricky should go to the Rocket Mortgage Classic and win this event for quite some time now, even though this field in Detroit last week was much stronger than we expected. It felt even better because it was Ricky finally getting the job done and all the joy that went along with it and watching the celebration. It was quite honestly one of my favorite weeks of golf that I've ever watched. And, you know, not without a scare though. Ricky gave me a heart attack down the stretch, but still a fun and enjoyable tournament for many different reasons with Ricky getting the outcome. But Joey, taking us to the John Deere Classic, obviously it's a little bit of a lull in the schedule, but us as a duo here have been riding some pretty decent form. Obviously, you stay crushing the major championships. You won Chris Kirk earlier on in the season. It feels like we got some good momentum both together here right now. How are you feeling as we walk into the John Deere Classic this week in Silvis, Illinois?
Great, man. I'm super pumped for you because, I know that you've been putting in so much freaking work and you've been right on the nose with a lot of this stuff. Like, barely off, guy finishing fifth or like close to it. I don't have the exact results in front of me, but guys that finished in second. And like, just to show you, how close you've been, you had Hadwin too this last tournament.
I also had Pendrith. I had all three guys. I had all three guys in the final pairing this past week. And I almost didn't come out with the winner.
Because Morikawa, we didn't trust him to make it that many birdies. And Morikawa was lights out.
Lights out on Sunday. And, dude, the worst part about it was Morikawa has just fucking ruined my Sundays. Like, every time he wins, it basically ruins my Sundays. 2 years ago, his last win, actually, at the Open, marched down my boy Louie and went and won the Open Championship. Won a playoff over Justin Thomas a few years ago. It feels like every time Colin Morikawa is doing something good, I happen to be on the wrong end of it. So to watch him just continuously creep up that leaderboard on Sunday, I literally had me shaking in my boots. I was probably also shaking my boots because a little hungover from the weekend, but Colin Morikawa didn't add to the shakiness that I was feeling on Sunday morning because he was an absolute killer, Joey. And I don't know if you saw the putt that he missed on 18, which would have given him the win, but he rimmed it and missed it by like a half inch. And the whole time, the NBC Sports, the coverage again, the whole conversation of its own. But they showed like the greens view of Morikawa's putt on 18, and literally the whole roll, I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's fucking in. It's fucking in. And he lips it out just barely, and that's what allowed for that to wind up going to a playoff. But so many emotions, dude, throughout just that entire Sunday. Morikawa rising, Ricky obviously playing like dick down the back nine and then having to go birdie 18. He throws a dart in there. The wayward drive then in the playoff to going and throwing another dart. I mean, oh my gosh, talk about just the absolute highs and lows all compact into like a 2-hour period. It was ridiculous.
If there's a way to win an outright, like excitement level, and I know it's nerve-wracking and like the roller coaster aside, and you were hungover, so that didn't help, of course. But isn't that what you want? Isn't that what you want? Like, what more could you ask for from an outright, and then to get that like kind of ride that you were able to kind of go through on Sunday? Like those are the best ones. You want the entertainment value. I don't want to just okay, yes, I'll take it if a guy wins by like 4 putts, right? Easily coasts to a victory. We'll take it all day long. But like, especially from a guy that I think collectively as golf fans and just everybody, most people out there really rooting for Ricky, and for you to be on him. This is one of the only reasons why I wanted to do the show this week. I could give a rat's piss about the John Deere Classic. Like, I just don't care really that much. And just being honest, like, yeah, we're going to preview, we're going to talk about, we're going to try to pick some winners this week. But it's because you've been on Ricky, this train, for so long that, like, I feel like everybody just needs to bow down to Mr. Jack right now, and just because, like, dude, honestly, I wasn't on him last week because of the number, and you said it. You know, maybe I just need to take the money. Stop looking at the number. Just take the money. The Orange Crush on Sundays is back in the winner circle. It's good to see, man. That celebration too is like a huge weight just lifted off of his shoulders. So, yeah, man, I'm super pumped for you, and I just feel like, what more could you ask for out of that outright?
You're right. It was a sweat, but the ending that it was, I mean, that's what made it all the more sweeter. And you talked about Ricky's celebration. I thought it was so perfect. Just him, like, taking a deep exhale, like it's finally fucking over. And I felt like I was his caddy, Ricky Romano, who was just clapping up a fucking storm, running up and giving him a hug. I went and hugged my buddy. I was so excited. I'm like, Ricky finally won. And it was sick too, because he just had gotten that read from Hadwin. That was also a little nice comfort zone, knowing if Hadwin had pulled it out too, it would have been an outright for me as well. But it wouldn't have been as sweet as Ricky. But I knew he had just gotten the read. It was just a little bit left to right on that 11-footer. And halfway, I knew 100% that he hit the line. So, yeah, it was a perfect, a fairy tale ending almost, if you will. And, yeah, what a way to see Ricky get it done. So many fans everywhere, to do it at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, where he always gets even more support than usual. I was like, even watching some of the fans in the background of the celebration, there were legit like 50-year-old people like freaking out and crying. And I was like, okay, This is like a really cool golf moment here, because golf is a sport where it is truly hard to find superstars. And even though Ricky Fowler has, like, obviously he's been playing well for a few months now, but throughout all those struggles, he was still like considered a superstar, and people still wanted to see him do successfully, to go and succeed and do well. And people were tuning in and week out. So for him to do it in front of that fan base as well, a really huge supporting crowd in Detroit, it made it even more special, in my opinion. So, yeah, I thought it was just a fantastic wrap up to a spectacular week. One of the best cards that I've put together, truthfully, in my entire golf betting career. I might have gotten a little cocky on Saturday, being like, okay, one of these bastards is going to win. Got a little scary there, but still the outcome that we always are desiring for week in and week out, Joey.
When you have so many of them collectively up there, though, I mean, it's natural to feel that like one of these is going to win no matter what. And it ended up happening. But, you know, by the way, though, I just want to shout out, we are part of the On Tap Sports Network. Go ahead to the YouTube channel if you want to kind of talk to us a little bit. Throw in your comments from last week. You know, what were your thoughts this past weekend? What are your thoughts for this week at the John Deere Classic? If you have any strong opinions. But, you know, obviously the hangover probably wasn't that good this last weekend, Jack, but I got to ask you a question. How was the Dairy Queen? How was the Dairy Queen? We've been talking about going to Dairy Queen, and you went without me. And I understand, because you had to reward yourself after this last weekend.
Yeah, that one, it felt worthy of making the old run to Dairy Queen. It was so good, it put me to bed for like 14 hours after the long weekend that I had, and the long week of not only doing this golf stuff and multiple articles, but Blackhawk stuff as well. I got back into the suburbs. First thing I did, no bullshit, I ran into the DQ drive-thru and got me a large turtle pecan blizzard. It was absolutely fantastic. Ate it, and yeah, went on to sleep for like 14 hours. Put me right to bed. So it did the trick, I would say. And hopefully we'll be having some more milkshakes here. I know we've been kind of waiting for that one since the Memorial tournament at Jack's place with the milkshakes. We didn't get one that week, but better late than never, I guess, is what I'll say on that front.
Hey, you got to reward yourself. Better late than never. We knew, especially with this heat, it's like, okay, if we're not going to hit an outright, we might as well just go one of these days soon. So, like, it's nice to do it after an outright, though. Nonetheless,
it was fitting.
It's very fitting. But yeah, Jack, I guess we could kind of move. Oh, wait a second. Tony Finau.
Oh,
He killed me. He killed me. You won. You got your outright and the one and done. And now you're up by what, like 50? What did you say? 50? Go close to 60 points, something like that.
Close to 60 points. It's still a race, but yeah, Tony did not do you any favors last week. And there were a lot of guys that missed the cut up at the top. JT missed the cut. Hideki missed the cut. Yeah, some guys that have been struggling, you know, and that's what we kind of talked about last week was so intriguing about the top of the board was really all of them had question marks kind of honestly, except for Ricky. And he was just the one that I trusted the most. But on a course where Finau obviously, you know, just went nuclear last year and went 26 under. I certainly didn't think he was going to shoot -3 over the first 2 days. I don't think anyone did. I'm sure you were not the only one who got bamboozled by using Tony Finau in the one and done last week.
And the worst part is he wasn't even my first pick. He wasn't even my second pick. I don't even know if he was my third pick, but I had to pick him because all 2 or 3 of the guys that I wanted, I had already used in one and done. And I'm like, all right, high floor. You've used him. Well, let's go with Tony Finau because he thinks somebody's going to shoot 30 under this week.
And then he forgot the 0.
He forgot the 0. Yeah. Anyways, it is what it is. Take my lump. I just feel like I undid a lot of the great work that I did with one and done to kind of make this comeback. And now I'm sitting here like an absolute dumbass for using someone who I even said on the show, we talked about, I don't trust the putter. And I don't feel like he's going to be able to make the putts that he needs to this week. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, okay, one and done, though. He should be fine. Like, no, sometimes if you don't think somebody's going to be good that week, just don't use them in one and done, I guess. I didn't predict that, though. I'll be honest. But
I don't think many people did. But, yeah, you're going to have to strap in here these last. I think we're down to our final 8 events of the season now that we'll be doing the one and done in. So, yeah, you're going to have to strap in. But it's a much closer race than I anticipated once we got through even the Masters. So
right, I did not think that this thing would be close the way that you were jumped out ahead of me. So, but I guess we should look ahead to this week.
Probably
it is the John Deere Classic. We probably should. TPC Deer Run, basically in our backyard towards the Quad Cities there. Silvis, Illinois, like you said, 7,268 yard, par 71. Basically, like a lot of the other courses we've been seeing lately, pretty easy to hit fairways, you know, bent grass greens. It kind of becomes a putting contest, like a lot of the ones that we've seen lately. Past winners here, JT Poston. Last year, Lucas Glover. Then the year before that, 19 under. No 2020. They weren't here in 2020 because of COVID. 2019, Dylan Fratelli. 18 was Michael Kim, 17 was Bryson DeChambeau, and then 2016 was Ryan Moore, just like the, you know, most recent past winner. So, Jack, what are some of your thoughts here about TPC Deer Run? It's about 20 minutes from Iowa, or Davenport, Iowa, anyways, major city there. So, what are you looking for? Is there anything in particular, or are we kind of sticking to the same sort of strategy as we have been?
Yeah, you kind of referenced how it's a pretty similar course to what we've seen the last couple of weeks. Now, even just thinking about it here on the show, I kind of do like what the PGA Tour has done with the schedule, though, kind of putting those events together and just keeping the tournament structure the same for stretches here. And after or once they return from across the pond following the Open Championship, we'll see similar themed tournaments with the Wyndham Championship and the 3M. We're down to that stretch of PGA Tour golf in America where they're mostly going to be birdie fest, very scoreable events. And TPC Deer Run is fairly similar to what we saw last week at Detroit Golf Club and the week prior at TPC River Highlands. It's another course that, you know, doesn't really give any advantage to bombers. It's just over 7,200 yards, very wide fairways, some of the widest that we see on the PGA Tour. And then 11 par 4s, most of them are within 400 to 450 yards. Nothing egregious in terms of distance on the par 3s, a couple below 200, a couple just over. And then all 3 of the par 5s are pretty reachable. So it's another positional golf course where, you know, you do want to be hitting these fairways. Like they're very wide, but there is still a penal rough if you do. So You want to be keeping your ball clean off the tee. And if you do that, you're going to be giving yourself on most of these holes somewhere between 100 to 150 yards, maybe even a little bit shorter than that, depending on where you like to leave yourself. But it's a positional golf course, somewhere where you want to be playing clean from tee to green. And then it kind of does turn into wedges and putting, just like we saw last week at Detroit Golf Club, because the distances coming into these greens is going to be filled with less yardage. It's going to be wedges, and it's going to be whoever can kind of ride that hot putter and get it close to, if not over 20 under. I probably think 20-21 is going to be the winning score this year, considering we're starting to get a little bit of rain around here, and I do think it's supposed to rain one more day throughout this tournament. So if there's soft conditions, it's going to play even easier to some of these guys. So really just looking at accurate drivers of the golf ball, guys who have been hitting it well recently with approach or who are really good with their wedges, and then someone who I also trust enough to make enough putts to get to that winning score. So kind of a broken record for what we've said the last couple of weeks. One thing I will add about TPC Deere Run that's a little bit different is the elevation and the sloped fairways. It's kind of oddly enough been grouped into a similar category of courses like Augusta National and Kapalua, where there just really aren't many flat lies on the course. That's really kind of the only defense outside of the penal rough, which again, you're only going to get into play if you go remarkably wayward with your drive because the fairways are so wide. So that's kind of the stuff that I've been looking at here for TPC Deere Run. Maybe guys who have good approach numbers on those two courses, albeit it's a little tougher to break down with this being a weaker field and not many guys that play in the Masters or in the Century Tournament of Champions wind up playing there. But just another kind of little thing to consider maybe. But yeah, pretty similar to what we've seen these last couple of weeks. I expect it to play pretty easy, as we always see at TPC Deere Run. So those are kind of the things that I'm looking at. Not really changing all that much from my strategy last week in Detroit.
Totally fair, man. Why would you? If it's pretty similar that way. It's an interesting point, though, about like Kapalua and Augusta National, though. Might need to look into that a little bit, because that's not something I was kind of thinking about, or I didn't hear the comparison like that. So very interesting point there about the elevation and kind of the slopes there. But yeah, what do you say, man? You want to get into it outright?
Yeah. Let's dive right into these scrubs.
I mean, yeah, right? Like this show doesn't have to be the whole full hour like we normally do. We can make it that. We could still start talking about, what we did on the 4th and me using, for the canopy, the weights that I used. I was telling you off air. I won't mention that right now. But outright winners. Let's start with the favorite. Russell Henley, 14-1. Cam Young, 16-1. And I'm looking right now at the odds checker, what they have listed. And they don't have all the books listed right now. But it looks like between BetRivers and DraftKings, BetRivers is our sponsor. Go ahead to betrivers.com, enter the promo code ONTAP for an up to $250 deposit match. That's promo code ONTAP at betrivers.com for an up to $250 deposit match. But that said, Russell Henley is 14-1 on BetRivers. Cam Young, 16-1 on BetRivers. McCarthy is 18-1. That's not BetRivers, but nonetheless. Adam Hadwin, 28-1. And then you got a big, long group of – we'll kind of shut it down there because there's a lot of guys between that 30 and, 35 range that really piqued my interest. But anyone at the top here, I mean, you were on Hadwin. We've been on Henley quite a bit lately. McCarthy's been super consistent as of late. Just, he's a guy that just doesn't win. And then Cam Young has been – I don't know what to make of him. He's obviously very good, but I haven't really loved his game this season. So what are you thinking here, Jack, with these top 4?
Yeah, really interesting top of the betting board. And I'm very curious to see what you're going to do as well, given you're someone who usually doesn't like to bet the top of the boards, and they're usually much better than this at that. But I am certainly going to start my card with one of these top 3 guys. It's not going to be Cameron Young. I'll tell you that. He's just been way too shaky with the putter. The approach has kind of been hit or miss. Off the tee, he's still doing really well, but I simply just don't trust his putter or really where his game's at. Like, is he the best player in this field? Absolutely. He's the only one at least out of the Americans, that's really in the conversation for the Ryder Cup. If anyone out there, by the way, thinks Denny McCarthy's making the Ryder Cup, that's just not fucking happening.
Yep.
He's way too talented for Denny McCarthy to be on the team. And that's not even a knock on him because, as I referenced, I'm going to start with one of these two guys. Denny's been playing really good, man. And the number is going to be gross for basically everyone this week. He's been popping up really ever since the PGA Championship, though. A lot of T20 finishes, and he's kind of revolutionized himself to not just being a putter. He's really had it going with the approach numbers as of late. Still, at this point in time, I think I'm just going to have to ride or die with Russell Henley this week and just accept that the number's not going to be good. I think I'm going to probably use that plus 300 that's offered at a different site to get him up to 17. But I think the reason that I want to do that as well is because I was someone who backed him at the Travelers at 35-40 to 1. And now I can get him pretty darn close to 20 that was a designated event. And this is obviously the worst event that we've seen of the summer. So is the number great on Russell Henley? I don't love the number, or do I hate betting the favorite in this event? Yeah, but Henley's given me really no reason not to be on him. The approach numbers remain absolutely fantastic. Off the tee, he's someone who is literally the most accurate driver of the ball on the PGA Tour. And his last time out at the Travelers, he finished T19, was never really in the mix, but he actually lost a little bit with the putter that week. And throughout this stretch that he's been on, most of the times he's gaining strokes with the putter. Also has some pretty decent history at the John Deere Classic as well, with a couple high-end finishes in the past. So I'm going to be, it looks like it's not locked in, and most of my card is. I'm still a little torn between Henley and McCarthy, but as the weeks kind of progressed here, I'm more so leaning towards Henley. So that's where I'm starting things off. And I'm also on Adam Hadwin this week. I already jumped on him at 33 to 1. He showed me no reason not to be on him once again in a much weaker field. He had a really good Sunday last week. Unfortunately, lipped out his putt in the playoff right before Ricky went and sunk the winner. But the putter was absolutely on fire. The approach numbers maintained to be really good, and he actually drove the ball as poorly as he has all season long. I honestly expect that to bounce back, and he'll be better than he was last week. And if he can continue to ride that hot putter, I think he absolutely has the game to be in the mix come Sunday. So Adam Hadwin 33 to 1 is locked in, and then I'm leaning towards Russell Henley at this point. What are you thinking? You're at the top of the board. You got anyone out of those top four?
Well, that's a great number to get Hadwin at, that 33, you said? 33?
Yeah,
I like that.
33.
I like that number. I haven't seen that. Haven't bet Hadwin this week. I haven't bet anyone yet in this group. I'm not going to, the Denny Mac thing, I'm not going to do it until he shows me that.
I've also never bet Denny, and I just don't think it's going to start this week at 18 to 1. I think he's going to win, though. That's I could see him winning. I really could. He's been so.
Oh good. Yeah, he's going to win a tournament. I mean, and if there is a tournament that he could do it in, it's absolutely for the reasons you mentioned. I could see him winning this tournament. I just don't. I don't know, man. And somebody has to be a favorite, right? So Russell Henley being whatever he's at now, 14 to 1. I mean, yeah, it's a terrible number, but he's the best option out of the golfers priced below 20 to 1. And I think he's even a better option than Adam Hadwin, who, I mean, you could say either or between those two, but, I do think that he's probably the best option in this entire field for Russell Henley. He's just so damn consistent. And if he really wants to play, I think he's the best golfer, maybe not talent-wise, but just all-around golfer in this field. And I don't know, man. I haven't gotten there yet. That's the thing here. We're sitting here. It's almost 9:00 Central Time on a Wednesday, right before the tournament, and I still have not locked in anything at the top. But if I am going to bet one, it's probably going to be Russell Henley there. Looking here, too, to that 30 and up range. A lot of our boys in here. A lot of my boys. There's some of your boys in here. Shank, 30 to 1. The Grill Master, 30 to 1. Ludwig Aberg, 30 to 1. Steven Jägermeister, 33 to 1. Chris Kirk is 35. Cole, 35. Mitchell, 35. Taylor Moore, 35 to 1. That's a huge group of golfers. So that's why I'm clumping them all together because they're all basically the same price. I'm getting to more than one in this range, Jack. How about you?
Yeah, I do like this range a lot. Probably with me already locking in Hadwin and wanting to bet on the top, I'm thinking I can only get to one of them though. And thus far, the only bet I've made was Adam Schenk at 33 to 1. Just can't get off the Schenk train now, baby.
Just Shankster.
I think he's got 3 top 7s in his last 7 starts. And I've oddly enough, similar to my other boy who we'll talk about here in a little bit, Mark Hubbard, Shank's like whenever his putter's going, it's a good finish for him. And the putter's been hot here as of late. He had a great weekend at the Rocket Mortgage Classic to have a really solid finish. Adam Shank's been knocking on the door, man. And lately we've been seeing guys come through who have been knocking at the door. And Adam Shank's been doing it in a lot better events than this. And also he's got some pretty decent history at the John Deere Classic as well. So I locked in Adam Schenk as well at 33 to 1. That number, by the way, is still available. Shout out to Bet Rivers and their enhanced offers. I know that 33 to 1 is still out there on Schenk. That's locked in. But I also, I really liked Emiliano Grillo this week, man. I really thought the Grills were going to be going in Illinois. There's just not, the narrative's probably over now since he won the Charles Schwab Classic and there wasn't any water near him. But I just said, to be real, I don't know if he can make enough putts to get to the winning score. And I did a lot of homework on that. And I went and looked at like all recently when Emiliano Grillo's been in contention, when he won the Charles Schwab Challenge, it feels like he's getting to 13, 14, 15 under. And I feel like the winner's got to hit 20. I just don't know if he can make enough putts. The one thing I will say about Grillo, T2 last year here at the John Deere Classic, and he did get to 18 under and was rolling the rock really well. And he has been doing that as of late. It just comes down to whether or not he's going to make enough putts. And in my mind, I just don't think he is. He was literally, though, one of the last men out in my betting card this week because I really gave Emiliano Grillo a long look. I know a lot of people are drinking Jaeger bombs this week. I'm not going to get there. Eric Cole's been playing some steady golf. Chris Kirk kind of had a resurgence last week, but I think Shank's the only one I'm going to get to, and Grillo would be the next closest for me. What's your interest in this range?
Oh, too much. Too much, honestly. No Jaeger bombs. No Jaeger bombs for me. Not doing that. No Ludwig Aberg, too. I know people are, I mean, it's nutty what he's doing from a fairways and driving performance perspective. But, I mean, he's obviously an outstanding talent. But I think in the putter and the approach is kind of going to – it's not up to snuff yet here for this type of tournament, I don't think.
Completely agree.
Yeah, man, the Grill Master. The most un-American thing I did on the 4th of July. Actually, there were two things that were pretty un-American. One was hanging from the canopy as weights. I used Canada Dry 2 liters that were like in our garage forever and sitting in the hot, just in the heat. And I was like, we can't drink these anymore. We need some weights. So tie them up around the canopy. Should never have anything that's not American out there. It's Canada Dry. It's just, you shouldn't do that. But I did that. The other thing, the most un-American thing was we did not grill on the 4th of July. We had Italian beef instead. Still really good, obviously. I mean,
can't go wrong.
He's not American. He's from Argentina, but the Grill Master. Like, how can I not make up for it by betting the Grill Master? I have to. So, I mean, I think too, I mean, T15 at the Travelers, T2 in his only appearance here at TPC Deer Run last year. I think you might have mentioned that. Yeah, I do like Grill this week. You also talked about Schenk, 33 to 1 with that enhanced offer. I like that. Glad that you threw that out there because that is a pretty good number to get him at, I think. It's a My Guys kind of week. We talked about a pre-show. It's a My Guys kind of week. A lot of birdies, nothing terribly too difficult. Talent level for their talent anyways, not for mine. T7 at the Rocket Mortgage, withdrew from this event last year. The 2 years prior, though, you were talking about his track record, T4, T6. So he can obviously handle it here at Silva. So then there's a couple other, I mean, this range, dude, I love this range. I'm just I'm betting this range and just like calling it. I think I might not get to Henley because I'm just going to bet so many from this range. Eric Cole, another my guy type of thing here. It's starting to become that. I think he's just a lock for a top 40 every week, especially this week, but might not be the greatest odds this week. I wanted to bet him last week to find out he wasn't in the tournament.
Oops.
But yeah, oops. True strokes gained positive putting each of his last 4 events, around the green 7 of his last 8 events. Would have liked him, like I said last week, but wasn't golfing. So this week we're back on him. 35-1. I like that number. Kirk, yeah, why not? Third in approaches from 125 to 150 yards. I think there's going to be a lot of those approaches this week from that type of range, it sounds like, from that bucket. So why not go ahead and fire up Kirk again? Then the other guy who I'm on the fence about, but I kind of like. Did I mention him when we were throwing out the odds? Yeah, Taylor Moore. 35-1. Won the Valspar earlier this year. Went on a decent little stretch there, and then kind of including the top 40 at the Masters. It was T39 there, I believe. Then missed 3 straight cuts before last week's T4 at the Rocket Mortgage. One of the best putters on tour, really, and really good on bent grass. So, and you look at like the strokes gained putting past 24 rounds on bent grass, he's 5th in the guys that are in this field. So I just like I know that's a lot. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 guys in this like 30 to 35-1 range. Am I nuts for like betting that many in this group?
Might have to, you might have room for like one more longer, but if you're not starting at the top, then if that's the majority of your card, I don't think that's crazy. I think a decent amount of people are probably going with that strategy this week. Maybe not necessarily just in that pocket, but I would say between 30 and 50-1, 60-1. That's where like a majority of the bets are going to be made this week. So I don't think that's that crazy.
I just feel like when I win, it's not if, it's when, Jack. We got to be confident.
Love that.
When I win, I just feel like I'm not going to get the best bang for my buck though this week, even though I am not starting at the top, but like generally I think we pick like 2 maybe in this range and then or 3, like I don't know. It feels like a lot, and I feel like my payout's not going to be great, but yeah, I hear what you're saying about maybe just going with a different approach. I'm taking my guys here, I think, is what I'm just convicted on, and we'll see how it plays out. But sometimes, like you were saying last week, just take the money, even if it's not a ton. Like, yeah, you obviously had a really good payout last week because you put a pretty penny unit wise on it. So that was obviously terrific. But doing more of like the sprinkle approach, I think. Not quite sprinkle. It's still unit measured, but
I'm actually sorry to interrupt. I'm mad you brought that up because in our show last week, you did say you're like, you should just throw all your money on Ricky. And I'm like, fuck, I should do that. I ended up throwing half. So out of the total that I usually throw down, I did throw more on Ricky, but kind of a little mad I didn't throw the whole thing on Ricky.
Hey, you know what?
Well, just a little mad. But it was still, I still think it was the second most profitable golf week I've ever had. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh shit. Then yeah, you're perfectly fine. Plus, you wanted to limit the risk. I totally get it. I was halfway joking about that, but I guess I was right. You should have.
What's kind of crazy is the time before I thought about doing that was I've had this happen 3 times in my career, and they've all 3 hit. And I told it as a sign on Sunday. I'm like, next time this happens, I have to legitimately do it. Because there were 2 other times where I felt this way. It was Brooks at the PGA Championship, and it was Will Zalatoris in last year's playoff. All of those times, I was like so sure of all 3 guys. I wound up sprinkling on a few more. They all still wound up winning. So maybe next time I get that feeling, remind me just to sack up and stop being a little bitch and throw it all down on the same guy.
And if you're not going to throw it all down, at least just increase it. Go like 75% if you did half this time.
Yeah, it'll be more next time for sure, and then I'll probably lose. But
hey, we're learning though. We're learning. See, this is all good. This is all good. It's a learning experience as we go. But yeah, Jack. Any final thoughts on that kind of range before we just start I don't even know if we should go down the entire card this week. Like, I just want to talk about golfers that you were super interested in, I think.
Yeah, we could just start going to like 40 to 60 pocket or whatever. But what I will say before we go through, I do really like Eric Cole as well. He was just kind of like right there with Emiliano Grillo in terms of just guys I probably don't have the room for this week. But I do really like Eric Cole. Taylor Moore, the one thing I will say is he gained like 9 strokes putting last week, and I'm pretty sure he lost on approach. So odds he gains, and I'm pretty sure he lost putting. I'm going to go look at this on Data Golf right now because I can easily pull it up right now, but I'm pretty sure he lost strokes putting in the 3 events before this past one. He did. He lost strokes putting in all 3 events before, and he's lost with his irons in 3 of the last 5. So that's why I'm personally not as high on Taylor Moore, just because I think he's going to have to gain 9 strokes putting again to just even be in the mix.
Like, you think it could be like a one-hit wonder type thing?
I personally would just like to see more from his ball striking before. But again, listen.
I get that.
It's this field. It's this fucking field. Taylor Moore absolutely can go out and win. So I don't want to talk you off a bet that you're thinking of making, because Taylor Moore realistically is probably like the 5th or 6th most talented player in this field. I just have concerns that like not everything's clicking at one time necessarily.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I totally get that. I think that's a good point to bring up.
We are betting on upside, though. We always bet on upside, and Taylor Moore does have the putting upside. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of putting upside, there's a guy that we were talking about for a while before the season really started in our eyes. It kind of started at the Waste Management. Where the hell has Taylor Montgomery been?
He's got it going bad. He's got it going real bad. I mean, his ball striking is horrible. To think that, I mean, this guy, he was like 20-1 in the fall.
Right.
He's 70-1 in this field.
What if he has a little magical? I mean, like we always see someone you weren't expecting that is off in form too, and just kind of rebound. Like, would this be a Taylor Montgomery week?
I can't say yes. Just I believe that he can make enough putts, but they're probably going to be 20 footers for par with the way that he's hitting it. Like,
right, yeah.
I don't know. I don't have faith in Taylor Montgomery. I really don't. I do think there's some interesting names in this 40 to 60 pocket, though, like a couple.
Yeah, no, I just figured I'd toss that name out there because I just randomly thought of that when we're looking at strong putters. I think Alex Smalley's interesting this week.
Lots of Smalley love.
Yeah, a lot of Smalley love in the industry this week, that's for sure, too. A lot of Ches Reavie interest this week. Poston obviously won last year. And I know who you're going to talk about, so go ahead and tell me who you're eyeing here.
Well, first I am on Ches this week. There's no reason to get off of Ches. Led the field in approach last week, just randomly forgot how to putt, and over the last like 3 months, he was literally the first time that he had lost strokes putting in like forever, but the ball striking was awesome, going on another course where he legitimately has a chance to contend. I was on Ches last week, and seeing those approach numbers, I know the numbers cut in half now, but I still think there's value there to a guy who was literally just in a, neck and neck kind of in the early parts of Sunday in a designated event. This is a much worse field. I'm going to take my odds on Ches once again. Mark Hubbard is just absolutely killing me. He was so bad last week. Gained with the putter again, but the approach went to shit.
That was one of the reasons why you were really on him, though, lately, I feel like.
The approach had been so good, and then last week it went to shit. He lost an approach, lost off the tee, lost around the green. It was a miscut for old Mark Hubbard, and I'm really scared if I don't bet him this week. I haven't bet him yet, and it's kind of feeling like I'm actually not going to, but I'm super scared that Mark Hubbard is going to go on a run if I don't bet him this week. But he's been kind of squeezed out. I have already bet Lucas Glover at 66-1.
Oh, man. I was so close to betting him, too.
The 2021 winner literally was one of the worst putters in the world for the longest time. And then he made this switch to the broomstick putter, and I don't believe he made the change last week, but he finally flashed some good putting for the first time since God knows when, en route to a T4 finish. Really good weekend. A guy who knows how to do it on this course not all that long ago. I get him at 66, 70 to 1 odds. Yeah, I'm in at Lucas Glover. He's down to 66 to 1 now. I got him at 70. But yeah, him and Ches were the two bets that I made. I'm still staring my boy Mark Hubbard right in the face. I think Dylan Wu is a little interesting. Someone who's kind of popped. I've heard love for Ryan Palmer this week as well. But I think the only ones I'm going to get to as of now are Ches and Lucas Glover. What about yourself?
Ooh, I was so close to betting Glover. Ches feels like a super good course fit here.
Yeah.
I don't think I can go that route, but totally understand that too.
If Ches won last week, I would have won like 2,700. I had like a $15 free bet, and I used it all. I used it all on Ches at like 150 to 1 odds. I'm like, fuck it. If I'm going to use a free bet, let's go big here. And
That's
then of course, he has the best irons week of his life, and one of the best putters on tour forgets how to fucking putt. Like,
he just couldn't put it together. I mean, yeah. I mean, why not? He's going to probably figure out how to putt here.
I would assume so.
You would assume. I think that's a good call. And that's the only way to use your free bets, by the way. Like, just real quickly, like, if you're not putting your free bets on some long odds, like something crazy, you're not using your free bets right, because that's why they're free.
Agreed.
Like, you're not putting your money on it. So go ahead and take a shot.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
That's how I've always felt about free bet. And that's why you see me do goofy shit. Like, if you follow me on Twitter and you're seeing me taking these home run parlays, guys that hit home runs, like 2 or 3 guys in a parlay on a free bet. Duh, I'm trying to get rich, baby. Let's go. It's not my money, like I said. So yeah, I think looking at this range, or kind of the guys we were talking about here in this area, I think Callum Tarrant is kind of interesting. 75 to 1. I feel like you can get a better price than that, though. I thought I saw him at 80 or 90.
He's been bet down a little bit. There's definitely love on Callum Tarrant this week. After he was the worst putter in the field last week, it can only go one way.
The putting does really scare me, and I feel like he's someone I haven't been on in a very long time. But maybe was the fall swing? I think I was on him a little bit in the fall swing.
Would have had to have been.
So yeah, it's been a little minute there, but other than that, man, I'm not getting to anybody until let me look. Did have some interest in Nate Lashley, but I don't think I'm going to bet him at 100 to 1. 130 to 1 is my next bet. You got anything before that?
No, not really. We're kind of into free shout outs. Michael Kim, 70 to 1. I'm not going to get there, but I've seen some love for the former champ. I hadn't really been seeing what Adam Svensson had been up to, but I saw him at 80 to 1. Like, he won a fall event. He's been fucking awful. Adam Svensson's been really bad. I have a feeling I know who your guy is at 130, but who is it?
Justin Lauer.
Wow, that's not the one that I thought it was going to be, but he's actually someone I wrote down. There is some interest in Justin Lauer for me as well.
Who was the guy that you were thinking I was going to go with?
I thought it was going to be Carl Wan.
No.
I wrote down 2 bombs that interest me, and they were Justin Lauer and Carl Wan.
Okay, yeah. Tell me about Juan real quick.
One on the Corn Ferry Tour last year has put up some decent numbers recently in the more scoreable events. Was actually right there going into Sunday. I think Ricky was 20 under to start Sunday, and Carl Wan was 16 under. He had a really solid Saturday. Stumbled a little bit on Sunday. He's listed here on Odds Checker at 130, but I saw him on Bet Rivers Enhanced at 250 to 1.
Ooh.
I wouldn't be interested at 130. I'm interested at 250. I think that's a bad number for a guy who was won on the Corn Ferry Tour and actually like just flashed us some upside. And I think he shot a 64, 8 under on Saturday. Like, give me some Carl Wan at 250 to 1. I think I'm gonna bet that. But I do like Lauer this week as well. And unfortunately, if I bet Carl at 250, I'm not getting the Lauer. But why were you interested in Lauer? Let me hear about it.
So mainly it was the numbers that I saw putting on bentgrass. So I figured he's actually first in his field the past 24 rounds putting on bentgrass. So for strokes gained. So yeah, I think you're going to take a shot there. The other guys in that group of the top 5, no, I don't know how to say it. Seung, you no, I don't know how to say it.
SH. Don't worry, he's got it shortened for you. It's just
It's
SH.
just SH. Okay, cool. Denny Mack, 3rd, Eric Cole 4th, and Taylor Moore 5th. And I'm on 2 of those guys in Cole and Moore, so why not go ahead and go with the guy that's first in the past 24 rounds putting on bent grass. So that was kind of my strategy there because he was such a long number looking at it, and I don't know much about SH there. I know SH Kim. I don't know SH No, really. I don't know much about what he's doing.
What is SH No's number? I can't even find him.
Yeah, I have no idea, dude. That's like shocking to me that he's in that group.
I'm on a mission. Is he here?
I think so, because that's why he was on that list. Matt Vicenzi's article that I was looking at. Shout out to him, because that's where I was getting the strokes gained.
Oh, I found him. He's 250 to 1.
Putting 250 to 1.
Yeah, let me see what he's been up to.
It's a long number.
Soon you'll know. 265th in the world. Hey,
soon you'll know. That's his name.
Soon you'll know is what he's trying to tell us. He's been rattling off some cuts here.
Oh, all right.
Hasn't missed a cut since the Honda in his last 7 starts. No finish in individual better than T29. I think that would be more of like a DraftKings play. Could
be a top 40 or making the cut play too, if you could find it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him to make the cut.
Maybe on shout out to another book here real quick, but PointsBet, they do a lot of the made cut. You can sometimes find some of those guys that like some pretty good numbers for made cuts, and they don't always do that. Like you see certain books, they just put, the -200 guys and, worse odds than that. Like they don't really want you to make money on the made cuts.
Yeah.
So if you could find those, if you could search those out, it's definitely worth a look. The guy, so you want to know somebody with a bad number, in my opinion?
Yeah, let me hear it.
Wait, I'm talking way down the board. Are we ready for that or no?
Yeah, let's hear it. We're there. We're there. These guys stink.
All right, Satoshi Kodaira.
My boy.
He is your boy. 400 to 1 I saw on that. Huh?
I mean, he had a really good Friday, I'm pretty sure, at the Rocket Mortgage.
Dude, he's been like consistently in that like top 40 to like T49 range the last 3 events that he's played in. And I know it's been very sporadic on tour that he's played. I mean, before last week, he didn't play since the middle of May at the AT&T Byron Nelson. And then, he was at the Mexico Open. Before that, he wasn't doing much. And then, early this year at Pebble Beach at T29. But I'm looking at it, and he's been good this year from that 125 to 150 range on approach. So he seems like a higher floor guy to me in this tournament with the way the field is. So I think the top 40 plus money bet is good for Kodaira too this week. But 400 to 1, man, it's just a little sprinkle. It's nothing crazy because I already have quite a few bets. But if you hit like a $5, maybe I'll probably try to find one of my little free bets to give it on. But 400 to 1, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. I'm a big Kodaira fan myself, and I haven't bet on Kodaira in quite some time. I remember I bet him last year at Mexico, and I think he finished inside the top 20. But he's someone I've liked for a couple of years now. Like you said, not someone who like really gets consistent PGA Tour starts because he's playing overseas often. But yeah, I don't hate that number. I mean,
where you bet him? You know where you bet him at too? I'm pretty sure. We might have both bet him, or you might have just bet him. It was at Zozo.
I think you're right. I definitely did bet him at the Zozo.
And he was T16 there.
Yeah, much better field than here.
Right. That was supposed to be it was a tough tournament. But yeah, man, I don't know. Any long odds, long fellow deeds outrights you're on?
Nothing really too crazy. I think the longest I'll go is probably Kookie Carl at 250 to 1, but realistically, like, I know that this is an event that has led to some long shot winners. I think someone probably inside of 60 to 1 is going to win this tournament. There have just been so many guys that have been knocking on the door from that range who I think also have been playing well these last couple of weeks in similar events. I think someone below 66 to 1 is still probably going to win this event. So I'm probably not going to go too crazy. I do like Justin Lauer. But yeah, those were really only the two guys above 100 to 1 that I was thinking about in total.
I like it, man. I agree with you completely. I think it's, for my sake, I'm going to say it's in that 30 pocket, 30 to 35 to 1. But I truly believe that one of these guys, it's an opportunity for one of these guys with the lower competition in this field. And they've been playing too good a golf recently to not pull it off, in my opinion. I don't think they're looking at this as a week off, like Lesterfield, like not for these guys. So they're going to take the FedEx Cup points where they can get them.
Yeah, Justin Thomas should be here. He needs all those points that he can get.
No shit, man. Why is he taking the week off? Wow.
I also think maybe taking a week off and just going to Scotland. Maybe I heard someone bring up today just playing a different style of golf maybe would be good for him right now. Just like trying. Obviously, it's just a different skills are required to win across the pond. So maybe that'll be some good for Justin Thomas. But yeah, he's close, man. I don't know if he's going to make it to St. Jude this year.
Yeah, things are looking scary for him. We thought he was back on track before last week. But
yeah, I'm glad I did not bet him at 18 to 1.
Yeah, that would have been – you would have been pissed.
Yeah.
Well, not really, because you should have put all your money on Ricky, like we said.
I should have.
But yeah, man, final thoughts here before we go ahead and get to – well, let's do one and done first.
I did want to shout out my one prop that I want to take this week is Eric Cole minus 105 top 30.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Because the top 40, I think, is juiced to minus 180, but I'm going to take him top 30.
I love it. I think that's as safe as it gets.
Yeah, I concur. That's the one prop I got.
I would say if you could find top 30 is range and that kind of similar price for him and for the Shank Daddy, I like Shank too in that top 30 kind of range.
Shank top 30 is minus 110.
Don't hate it.
No, not at all.
Either one, maybe even a top 20 this week for both of those two. I don't mind that at all. But if you're playing it safe, I think the top 30s are very good looks. But yeah, you got any of the props this week? Because I don't. I think I had. Oh, it was Kadira the top 40 too, which is kind of crazy. But it's probably, I don't know what the odds are on that.
I kind of want to look at what Justin Lauer or SH No would be to lead in the first round, be first round leader.
Oh, here you go again with your first round leaders.
I know. 80 to 1 for. Where did I just have that? 80 to 1 for not No, but Lauer. I can't even find No. He's the mystery man on this betting board. He's just
soon we'll know.
130 to 1. Yeah, soon we'll know. 130 to 1. Maybe I'll bet one of those. That's really it.
Yeah, why not? You're not losing out if you lose it. I mean, you already lost quite a bit on the first round leaders, so.
Oh yeah, I'm digging that hole deep.
It's definitely it's a crapshoot. It's a total crapshoot, the first round leader. But I don't blame you for chasing it. It's like a white whale at this point for you. So yeah, man. What do you think though? One and done. It's your pick. You're up again. You got the pick. So now I can't do shit again. I'm just in my chair.
I am gonna laugh if I think I'm stealing your guy here. I thought about this for a little bit, and I don't know how to feel about this decision right now. But I'm taking Eric Cole as my one and done.
Fuck you!
Taking Eric Cole as my one and done pick.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I don't know how to feel about it. Using Eric Cole in a big one and done spot here. I had a feeling you were going to be on Eric Cole.
That's right.
Yeah. I had a feeling when he said, where else could I use him? I was like, Probably gonna be Eric Cole. Yeah, I think I have to use Eric Cole, man, just because I do think there are guys with more winning upside than him. But at this point where we're at in the season, I kind of just want consistency out of this event. Like, this event's such an unknown. Like, I think Cam Young could be like a viable one and done play because his talent, but there's also like, I think a bigger risk that he misses the cut. Like, maybe that's crazy to say than Eric Cole versus Cameron Young, but that's where I feel like we're realistically at. So give me Eric Cole. If he can finish anywhere inside that top 30, cash that top 30 bet, I'll be happy with the one and done this week.
No, that's a great strategy, especially because you're just playing a little defense this week. It's, you're not really asking for the outright, but you are playing. That's really good strategy on your part. Probably, and especially knowing where my brain was, kind of.
I mean, I wasn't going to take him knowing he was your guy. He was just legitimately all day. I was mowing my backyard. Like, am I really about to take fucking Eric Cole in the one and done tonight? But it's kind of where I'm going.
That's even more upsetting to me is you were thinking about this all day. and I took like a little, like 2 hours before the show and just was kind of like, yeah, maybe Eric Cole. And then like right before hopping on here, like, I know where I'm going to go. And then you're on him. So it is what it is. Now I got to figure out plan B. What's my plan B here? I'm pretty sure I've used the Grill Master.
You used the Grill Master the second week of the season.
Yeah, wow. Russell Henley, I'm pretty sure I've used him.
Yeah, you used Russell Henley 2 weeks ago at the Travelers.
Okay, and then Shank and Kirk, I think I've used both of them.
You for sure used Kirk. I don't know if you've used Shank.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I believe you have Adam Shank open.
Ooh, man. Yeah,
to
my guy's week. Let's go with Adam Shank.
All right, baby. Best of luck.
Yeah, I'm going to need it. I do like both of those guys for floor's sake, though, this week, too.
Yeah, I agree. I really like both of them. I was in between them and Hadwin were really like the three that I was thinking about. And I thought Cole was the safest one.
But just out of curiosity, have I used Denny McCarthy?
No way. No, you definitely haven't used Denny. No.
If we're talking floor, though, like,
I mean, you want to roll out Denny instead?
I don't want to root for him to win, though. That's my problem.
He doesn't have to win in the one and done.
Yeah, that's true. What's the percent of people you think in these one and dones that are using McCarthy like this week?
Good amount.
It's a pretty good amount.
I'd say he's probably him or Russell Henley are probably the most popular picks this week.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a good like guideline to use, I feel like. But sometimes I hate doing what everyone else is doing with the one and done because I feel like those people just get shot every week.
Oh, I would know. Tommy Fleetwood was the most used one and done at the Travelers, and he missed the cut.
That's the point there. There you go. Good example.
Tony Finau was probably the most used player in the one and done last week, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm an idiot for that. No, I'm not going to do that this week. Let's go sticking with the Shankmeister.
Orange, you glad you stuck to your guns?
Exactly. And that was totally a Ricky reference, by the way.
Oh, I know.
So, Jack, with that said, what are your final thoughts for this week's John Deere Classic in the Quad Cities? Where are you at? How are you feeling going into this tournament? Can the coverage get better? We probably shouldn't talk about that. But yeah, final thoughts.
The coverage was so sad for poor Ricky on Sunday. It was so sad. And I'm sorry, last 1 minute rant. Are you a Joey Chestnut fan of the hot dog eating contest?
Oh, who is? Dude, that would be un-American.
Bro, they fucking scrapped that together to put it on ESPN2 in like 30 minutes. You're telling me that the PGA Tour couldn't figure out how to get the Rocket Mortgage Classic on television and the fucking hot dog eating contest. Joey Chestnut rallies the troops. That thing's on ESPN2 an hour after it was supposed to be canceled. And the PGA Tour can't get someone to televise this live. It's an absolute tragedy. I'm not going to go on that rant again. I will say, I'm not like thrilled about this event. It's going to be one of those kind of like last week where, just checking up on the leaderboard on the PGA Tour app through Thursday and Friday, Hope my boys are right there. And then when I tune in on Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, they start to get it cooking and give me something to sweat over on Sunday. So looking forward to hopefully some guys being in the mix on Sunday, because I will absolutely be watching if that's the case. And another week closer to the major championship, I really like the Scottish Open that's been added to the schedule these last couple of years. That's next week as well. I think it's a really good lead-up event to the Open. So I'm excited for what's ahead. Maybe not particularly this event, but for what's near around the corner. And we just got to make one stop through Silvis, Illinois real quick before that.
Totally with you. It's totally a weekend watcher type of tournament.
Yeah.
It's not really like I got to tune in first thing on Thursday, unless you're betting on the first round leader, maybe Jack Bushman.
I still don't. I just watch on the app.
Yeah, fuck it. You don't really need to. By the way, couldn't put that any better myself. I mean, yeah, if you can scrap together the hot dog eating challenge, you can find a way to televise and please put on some better coverage for the PGA Tour, which is a weekly event that people have money riding on, like us, every single week. And people genuinely just want to watch golf because it's a growing game right now.
Bro, and I forgot to mention this. They had the audacity to do a golf pregame show. And then after the pregame show was the broadcast from like 4 hours ago. It was like they were on like 15 and the broadcast started at fresh on 1. It's like you really have the audacity to go sit down these 4 70-year-old white dudes that no one cares about their opinions. Just show us the golf, And then they pregame for an event that's basically already over and you're showing us a tape delay broadcast like it's 1995. It's a fucking joke. It's a joke.
Nothing's worse than listening to the analysts for golf. Most of them, nothing is worse because – yes, you might learn a thing or two. I learn a thing or two from them. But do I really give a shit about what they're trying to tell me? No, I've been looking into this all week. I've been trying to learn things throughout the week. I don't care what you're about to tell me because half the time it's just bullshit that you've concocted in your own head. Like,
literally.
It's not like it has no importance to do with the actual tournament that's going on that we want to watch most of the time. So anyways, neither here nor there. The rant session's over for this time, Jack. We'll get to that next week for the Scottish Open. Hopefully everybody cracks them. Well, cashes them, locks them, whatever you want to call it. Can we get an outright?
I hope so. Let's get it rolling here, baby.
Let's get another outright. I think we're up to 9 now for the season between the two of us. So we're not counting ones that we were on together, right?
Correct. We are at 9.
9 outrights for the season individually or just, whatever for the tournaments. That's a pretty damn good number. That's something to be proud of because we have a lot more golf ready to go. And that's why it's like, do you guys look, we do this for fun. We like doing this. But obviously, we want some more people in the comments and talking to us and telling us what your thoughts are. But like, if you're not watching this show,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing? We're out here celebrating. We're getting Dairy Queen again this week.
Yes, sir.
At least Jack is. So with that said, we are part of the On Tap Sports Network. Go ahead and go to ontapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports needs, podcasts, articles, Jack's golf articles. Next week, he'll be rolling again with the Scottish Open. We will be back probably Tuesday next week, I'm assuming. Yeah, hopefully everybody had a good 4th of July. Crack them. You can follow us at OnTap Golf on Twitter. Jack's at Jack Bushman 2. I'm at Joey Knows Nothing. Crack them. Lock them. Be safe. Get an outright. And we're out. If I can click the button.